The geometry is such that you keep on going, living your life, and you come around and come back and can live it over again. Closed time-like line was the magic phrase to describe it.
What if everything you believe about life, your existence, and the world around you is a lie? What if the very essence of being alive is an illusion, crafted by forces far beyond what we can see or touch? These aren't just abstract ideas or musings. They stem from the mind of one of the greatest thinkers of our time, John Wheeler, a physicist whose groundbreaking theories have sent shockwaves through science and spirituality alike. The nature of existence. Wheeler's theory, often referred to as the participatory universe, challenges the core of what it means to exist. He argued that reality itself isn't something solid, fixed, or independent. It only comes into being through observation. In other words, the universe is not a machine running on its own. It's a living, dynamic construct shaped by consciousness. This stunning idea doesn't just rewrite the rules of physics, it challenges everything we think we know about life. Pause for a moment and consider this. If reality only exists because you observe it, are you truly alive in the way you believe? Or are you merely playing a role, a conscious participant in a vast, interconnected web of perception? Wheeler's theory doesn't stop at reshaping science. It forces us to confront deep spiritual questions. Who are we? Why are we here? And perhaps most unsettling of all, is anything truly real? These questions are not new. For centuries, spiritual traditions and philosophies have hinted at similar truths. The ancient Vedic teachings of India speak of Maya, the illusion of the material world. In Buddhism, the concept of anatta, the non-self, suggests that the self is not a permanent, unchanging entity, but a collection of ever-shifting perceptions and experiences. Even Plato's allegory of the cave in Western philosophy warns us that what we perceive as reality may be nothing more than shadows on a wall projected by unseen forces. But Wheeler's theory takes these ancient ideas and places them squarely in the modern world, backed by the mysterious and mind-bending principles of quantum mechanics. According to quantum physics, particles like electrons exist in a state of probability until they are observed. It's as if the universe itself is waiting for someone or something to look at it before deciding what to become. Wheeler extended this idea to the entire cosmos, suggesting that the universe doesn't exist independently of us. Instead, it's a collaborative process, one where our consciousness plays an active role. If Wheeler was right, it means you are not simply living within the universe, you are helping create it. This realization can feel both empowering and deeply unsettling. On one hand, it suggests that we have a profound connection to everything around us. On the other, it raises the haunting possibility that the life we think we're living is a kind of mirage, a temporary construct dependent on our awareness. The implications of this are staggering. If reality depends on observation, then who or what is observing us? Are we just tiny fragments of a greater consciousness, mere reflections in an infinite mirror? Some traditions, like Gnosticism, speak of a hidden force behind the scenes, a divine architect or supreme intelligence shaping reality from the shadows. Others, like Taoism, urge us to let go of the search for answers and embrace the flow of existence itself, trusting that the unseen forces of the universe are far beyond our comprehension. Yet, there are moments in life that seem to expose cracks in the illusion. Think of déjà vu, the eerie sensation that you've lived a moment before, or the glitches we sometimes encounter in the fabric of reality. A clock stopping at the exact moment a loved one passes away, a dream predicting an event that later unfolds, or even the inexplicable synchronicities that seem to guide us towards certain paths. These anomalies hint at something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface of what we call real. Even science, in its quest for understanding, encounters limits that seem almost mystical. Why does light behave as both a particle and a wave? How can particles on opposite sides of the universe be entangled, influencing each other instantaneously? These phenomena defy common sense and suggest that the universe operates on principles far stranger than we can imagine. And then there's the question of free will. If reality only exists through observation, then how much control do we truly have? Are our choices our own, or are they part of a larger script, written by the very act of consciousness observing itself? Wheeler's theory forces us to reconsider the notion of free will, not as an absolute freedom, but as a dance between the observer and the observed, between our desires and the universe's unfolding story. In this, there's a powerful opportunity. If the universe is participatory, then our role is not passive. By shifting our focus, by choosing what we observe and how we perceive, we can influence the very fabric of reality. This idea aligns with teachings from countless spiritual traditions which emphasize the power of intention and awareness. As the Buddha once said, "What you think, you become," or as the Hermetic principle of correspondence states, "As above, so below, as within, so without." But here's where it gets even more intriguing. If we are co-creators of reality, then what happens when we stop observing? Does the universe itself dissolve into nothingness, waiting for consciousness to re-engage? This question brings us full circle, back to the unsettling possibility that we are not truly alive in the way we think. Instead, we might be something far stranger, actors in a play written moment by moment, not by a playwright, but by the audience itself. The hidden architects of reality. If John Wheeler's theory shakes the very foundation of what it means to exist, the next step is uncovering the evidence that supports his claims. It's one thing to say that reality depends on observation, but what about the hidden forces that seem to guide this process? Are there clues in science, spirituality, and our own experiences that reveal the truth behind this participatory universe? Let's start with the most baffling phenomenon in modern physics, the double-slit experiment. This groundbreaking experiment demonstrated that particles, such as electrons, behave differently when they are observed. Without observation, they exist as waves, spreading out in all directions, representing a state of pure probability. But the moment they are observed, they collapse into a single definite state, a particle. This strange behavior doesn't just apply to electrons, it's a principle woven into the very fabric of reality. Think about what this implies. If observation changes the nature of matter itself, then reality is not fixed. It is fluid, shifting based on perception. Wheeler took this a step further, suggesting that the universe doesn't simply exist out there independent of us. Instead, it comes into being through the act of observation. This aligns eerily well with ancient spiritual teachings. The Buddhist concept of dependent origination teaches that nothing exists independently. Everything arises in relation to other things, like ripples in a vast ocean. Similarly, the Hindu idea of Brahman suggests that the ultimate reality is not a collection of separate objects, but a single infinite consciousness manifesting itself in countless forms. These teachings, thousands of years old, echo the very ideas Wheeler proposed with his participatory universe. But where does this leave us? If reality depends on observation, who or what is doing the observing? Are we the creators of our own existence, or are there hidden architects shaping the universe behind the scenes? The ancient Gnostics believed in a reality controlled by unseen forces, what they called the archons. According to Gnostic teachings, these entities created the material world as a kind of prison, trapping souls in a false reality. While this may sound like myth, it raises an intriguing question. Could there be forces beyond our comprehension influencing what we perceive as real? In modern times, we might not speak of archons, but the idea persists in different forms. Quantum mechanics reveals that reality at its smallest scale is governed by probabilities, entanglements, and unseen energies. Even mainstream science acknowledges the existence of dark matter and dark energy, mysterious forces that make up 95% of the universe yet remain completely invisible and unexplained. What if these forces are not just physical phenomena but something more? And then there are the glitches. Many people report experiences that defy logic and challenge their understanding of reality. Objects disappearing and reappearing, time seeming to warp, or events occurring that feel too perfectly timed to be mere coincidence. These anomalies suggest that the rules of reality may not be as rigid as they appear. Take, for example, the concept of synchronicity introduced by psychologist Carl Jung. Synchronicity refers to meaningful coincidences, events that are linked not by cause and effect, but by a deeper, unseen connection. Have you ever thought about someone only for them to call you moments later, or stumbled upon a book, conversation or symbol that perfectly answered a question you'd been wrestling with? These moments feel like cracks in the illusion, glimpses of a hidden order guiding the chaos of life. Wheeler's theory provides a framework for understanding these phenomena. If reality is participatory, then our thoughts, intentions and awareness play a role in shaping what unfolds. This idea resonates with the law of attraction, a spiritual principle that suggests our thoughts and emotions create our reality. It's no coincidence that teachings like this have surged in popularity alongside scientific discoveries about the nature of consciousness. But there's another layer to consider. If we are participants in creating reality, then what happens when we let go of control? The illusion of control is one of the most pervasive traps of human existence. We cling to plans, expectations and desires, believing that we can shape the world to our will. Yet, time and again, life throws us curveballs, reminders that control is fleeting at best. This is where the spiritual practice of surrender comes into play. In many traditions, surrender is not about giving up. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and trusting in a higher order. In Taoism, this principle is called Wu Wei, or effortless action. It's the idea that the most profound results come not from forcing, but from flowing with the natural rhythms of life. In the context of Wheeler's participatory universe, surrender takes on a new dimension. If reality is shaped by observation, then letting go of control allows us to observe with clarity and openness, free from the distortions of fear, attachment, or expectation. This state of presence, the ability to simply be, may be the key to unlocking the deeper truths of existence. This brings us to the role of the present moment. The more we delve into the mysteries of reality, the more we realize that the present is all there is. Past and future are constructs of the mind, illusions created to help us navigate the flow of time. But in the present, everything converges. It's the only point where observation and creation intersect. Living fully in the present. What if I told you that your entire life is a story, a narrative spun out of perceptions, beliefs, and the threads of your own mind? What if everything you think you know about yourself and the world is simply the result of observation, and without that observation, none of it would even exist? As we delve deeper into John Wheeler's participatory universe and the evidence all around us, one truth becomes increasingly clear. Reality, as we understand it, is not fixed. It is not even real in the way we've been taught to think. Let's return to the concept of the present moment, the only true anchor in the swirling tides of existence. Why is this so important? Because the present is the canvas upon which reality is painted. Every observation, every choice, and every intention comes to life in this eternal now. Yet we spend so much of our lives disconnected from it, caught in the endless loops of past regrets and future anxieties. This disconnection is more than just a mental habit. It's the mechanism that keeps us trapped in the illusion. Ancient philosophies have always pointed to this truth. In Zen Buddhism, the idea of satori, or sudden awakening, is about piercing through the veil of illusion to experience reality as it truly is. It's a moment of profound clarity where the mind stops its chatter, and all that remains is the pure, unfiltered experience of being. Similarly, in Hinduism, the practice of mindfulness and dhyana, meditation, is a tool for dissolving the ego and reconnecting with the universal consciousness. Modern science echoes these spiritual insights. Neuroscience has shown that our brains are constantly filtering and interpreting information, constructing a version of reality that is unique to each of us. What we perceive is not the world as it is, but a representation shaped by our senses, thoughts, and expectations. In other words, we are not passive observers of reality. We are its co-creators. But if we are creating reality, why does it often feel like we're at its mercy? Why do so many of us feel stuck, powerless, or disconnected from the flow of life? The answer lies in the illusions we cling to, chief among them the illusion of identity. From the moment we are born, we are given a name, a role, and a set of expectations. We are taught to see ourselves as separate beings, defined by our achievements, possessions, and relationships. This identity becomes the lens through which we view the world, coloring every experience and shaping every decision. Yet, at its core, this identity is a construct, no more real than the characters in a dream. The Gnostic teachings offer a powerful metaphor for this illusion. They describe the dormant soul as being trapped in a world of shadows, mistaking the projections of the material world for reality. To awaken, the soul must recognize that it is not the body, not the mind, and not the story it has been told. It is something far greater, a spark of the divine, capable of transcending the illusions of the physical realm. But awakening is not just a mystical concept. It has practical implications for how we live our lives. Consider the glitches we discussed earlier, those moments when reality seems to crack open, revealing something deeper. These glitches are not accidents. They are opportunities to see beyond the surface, to question the assumptions we take for granted. One of the most fascinating aspects of modern quantum mechanics is the idea that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a phenomenon known as superposition. It's only when an observation is made that the particle chooses a state, collapsing into a single reality. This suggests that reality itself is not fixed, but fluid, waiting for us to define it. In practical terms, this means that the stories we tell ourselves about our lives, our limitations, our fears, our dreams, are not set in stone. They are possibilities waiting to be observed and brought into being. But to do this, we must first let go of the old narratives that no longer serve us. Letting go is one of the hardest things for the human mind to do. We cling to our beliefs, even when they cause us pain, because they give us a sense of control. Yet, as the Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu taught, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. When we stop trying to control everything, we create space for something greater to emerge. This is where the practice of surrender comes into play. In the participatory universe, surrender is not about giving up. It's about stepping into the flow of creation, allowing yourself to be both the observer and the observed. It's about trusting that the same forces that guide the stars and the tides are also guiding you. To cultivate this trust, we must learn to quiet the mental noise that keeps us distracted, so we can reconnect with the present moment and tune in to the subtle rhythms of existence, the patterns that underlie the chaos of daily life. But inner stillness is not the end goal. It's the doorway to something far greater, the realization that you are not just a participant in the universe, but a co-creator of it. This realization has profound implications for how we live, love, and dream. Escaping the illusions that bind us. As we journey deeper into John Wheeler's participatory universe, the question of what it means to be alive grows even more profound. The evidence, as it turns out, isn't just theoretical or scientific. It's written into the very fabric of our daily experiences. Reality is revealing itself in whispers, in symbols and in glitches, waiting for those who are ready to look beyond the surface. And now we turn our attention to one of the most radical yet empowering concepts of all, escaping the illusions that bind us. For centuries, spiritual traditions have taught that freedom begins with awareness. The Gnostic teachings, for example, speak of the pleroma, the fullness of divine reality that exists beyond the material world. They tell us that what we perceive as life is merely a shadow, a fragment of the infinite. This aligns strikingly with Wheeler's view that the universe is not a static object, but a participatory process constantly shaped by the act of observation. What does this mean for us, practically speaking? It means that the walls we perceive around us, the limits of time, space, and identity, are not as solid as they seem. They are constructs, illusions created by the mind to make sense of a vast, incomprehensible reality, and just as they are created, they can be dissolved. Consider the illusion of control. From an early age, we are taught to strive, to plan, and to manipulate our surroundings to achieve our goals. We are told that success comes from effort and that our value is tied to our accomplishments. But what if this constant striving is part of the trap? What if the need to control is itself an illusion, a distraction from the deeper truth of who we are? The ancient Taoists understood this well. Laozi, the author of the Tao Te Ching, taught that the greatest power comes from letting go. He wrote, "Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself?" This is the essence of Wu Wei, or effortless action, not forcing, not controlling, but aligning with the natural flow of existence. In the context of Wheeler's participatory universe, this idea takes on a new dimension. If reality is shaped by observation, then the act of letting go becomes a powerful form of creation. When we release our need to control, we create space for new possibilities to emerge. We stop clinging to old narratives and start co-creating a reality that aligns with our deepest truths. But letting go is not easy. The mind resists it because it fears the unknown. It clings to the familiar, even when the familiar is painful or limiting. This is why recognizing the patterns in our lives is so important. These patterns, whether they manifest as recurring challenges, relationships, or thoughts, are the echoes of the stories we've been telling ourselves. They are the evidence of the illusions we've been living under. For example, have you ever noticed how certain situations seem to repeat themselves, no matter how hard you try to change them? You might switch jobs, move to a new city, or end a relationship, only to find yourself facing the same struggles in a different form. This is not a coincidence. It's a reflection of the underlying beliefs and assumptions that shape your reality. The key to breaking free lies in awareness. Once you recognize a pattern, you can begin to question it. Why does this keep happening? What story am I telling myself that allows this to persist? And most importantly, is this story true? Often you'll find that the beliefs driving your experiences are based on fear, insecurity, or a sense of unworthiness, none of which are reflective of your true nature. Quantum mechanics offers a fascinating perspective on this process. As we've discussed, particles exist in a state of superposition until they are observed, at which point they collapse into a specific reality. Similarly, the patterns in our lives persist because we keep observing them in the same way. We see ourselves as victims, as failures, or as people who are not good enough, and reality obliges by reflecting those beliefs back to us. To escape the system, we must change the way we observe. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It means shifting our focus from fear to possibility, from limitation to potential. It means observing ourselves with compassion and curiosity rather than judgment. When we do this, we begin to collapse different realities, realities that align with our highest selves. This process is not just about changing our thoughts, it's about transforming our entire way of being. It's about stepping into the flow of life and trusting that the universe is not against us, but for us. The evidence is all around us, if we're willing to see it. Every synchronicity, every unexpected blessing, every moment of clarity is a reminder that we are not separate from the cosmos. We are an integral part of its unfolding. This brings us to the present moment, the ultimate key to freedom. The present is not just a point in time, it's a state of being, a doorway to the infinite. When we anchor ourselves in the now, we step out of the illusions of past and future. We stop identifying with the stories that bind us and reconnect with the truth of who we are. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools for cultivating this awareness. They help us quiet the mental noise and tune into the subtle rhythms of existence. But inner stillness is not an escape from reality, it's a deeper engagement with it. It's a way of aligning with the flow of creation, of becoming both the observer and the observed. How to rewrite your reality. The realization that you are not alive in the traditional sense, that what you perceive as life is a co-created illusion, can be both liberating and disorienting. What does it mean to be a spark of consciousness in a participatory universe? If you're not alive as you thought, how do you engage with this unfolding reality? As we move forward, the focus turns to action. How to reclaim your role as a creator and consciously shape the patterns of your existence. One of the first steps in this process is understanding the role of intention. Intention isn't just a wish or a vague hope for a better future. It's a focused energy that has the power to shape the quantum field. Quantum mechanics shows us that particles respond to observation, collapsing into a specific state based on the observer's perspective. Intention acts as a directive force in this process, guiding how energy organizes itself into matter and experience. This isn't a new idea. Ancient teachings have always emphasized the power of focused thought and will. In the Hermetic tradition, the principle of mentalism declares, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This means that reality at its core is shaped by consciousness. Similarly, Buddhist teachings stress the importance of right thought, recognizing that the mind's focus determines the quality of one's experience. The implications are profound. If your thoughts and intentions shape your reality, then every moment presents an opportunity to rewrite the script of your life. But this isn't about controlling every detail or forcing outcomes. As we've explored, the illusion of control can be a trap. Instead, this is about aligning your intentions with the flow of the universe, co-creating in harmony with the greater whole. To do this, you must first recognize the patterns you're currently creating. What stories are you telling yourself about who you are and what's possible? Are they stories of limitation, fear, or lack? Or are they stories of abundance, love, and possibility? Whatever you focus on, you amplify. If you dwell on fear, you collapse a reality of fear. If you focus on gratitude and trust, you open the door to new potentials. This brings us to the transformative power of gratitude. While gratitude is often seen as a passive emotion, something you feel after receiving something, it is in truth an active force. Gratitude is a frequency, a vibration that aligns you with the flow of creation. When you cultivate gratitude, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's already present. This shift in perspective creates a ripple effect, attracting more of what resonates with your new state of being. Science supports this. Studies in neuroscience show that practicing gratitude rewires the brain, enhancing feelings of well-being and resilience. From a quantum perspective, gratitude acts as a form of positive observation, influencing how reality collapses into form. It's as if the universe responds to your gratitude by saying, "Here, have more of this." But gratitude isn't always easy, especially when you're facing challenges or pain. This is where the practice of mindfulness becomes essential. Mindfulness teaches you to be present with whatever arises, without judgment or resistance. It helps you see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. Consider the parable of the Chinese farmer, often attributed to Taoist philosophy. When the farmer's horse runs away, his neighbors lament his bad luck. The farmer simply replies, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returns with several wild horses, and the neighbors celebrate his good fortune. Again, the farmer says, "Maybe." This pattern continues, with each event leading to unexpected outcomes. The moral of the story is that life is unpredictable, and our judgments of good or bad are often short-sighted. When you embrace this perspective, you begin to see life's flow as a dance rather than a battle. You stop resisting what is and start working with it. This doesn't mean passively accepting everything that happens. It means engaging with reality from a place of openness and curiosity. It means asking, what is this moment teaching me? How can I grow from this? In the participatory universe, every moment is an invitation to co-create. But co-creation isn't just about manifesting what you want. It's about aligning your desires with the greater whole. It's about recognizing that you are not separate from the cosmos, but an integral part of its unfolding. This requires humility and trust, a willingness to let go of your ego's need for control and surrender to the flow of life. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of resistance. It means trusting that the universe is not random or chaotic, but deeply intelligent. This intelligence is not something out there. It's within you as you. The Sufi poet Rumi captures this beautifully when he writes, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop." As you embrace this truth, the boundaries between self and other, between observer and observed, begin to dissolve. You realize that the hidden architects of reality are not some external force manipulating your life. They are you, and you are them. The evidence of this interconnectedness is everywhere, woven into the patterns of nature, the synchronicities of daily life, and the mysteries of the quantum field. Dissolving limiting beliefs. The culmination of this journey is a radical yet empowering revelation. You are not merely living within reality, you are reality, creating itself moment by moment. Every thought, every choice, every observation is an act of creation. John Wheeler's participatory universe isn't just a theory. It's a mirror reflecting your inherent power and responsibility. But what does this mean in practical terms? How do you embody this understanding in your everyday life, where bills need to be paid, relationships demand attention, and uncertainty often looms? The answer lies in the delicate dance between awareness and action, between being and doing. One of the first steps is cultivating presence. The present moment is the only place where creation happens. When you dwell in the past, replaying regrets or grievances, or project into the future with anxiety and fear, you lose touch with your creative power. Presence is not about passivity. It's about engaging with life fully, with clarity and intention. Contemplative presence is one of the most effective tools for cultivating presence. It trains your mind to stay centered, to observe thoughts without becoming entangled in them. Imagine your mind as a still lake. Each thought or emotion is a ripple on the surface. Meditation helps you recognize that you are not the ripples, you are the lake itself. From this space of stillness, you can choose which ripples to create, rather than reacting to those that arise unconsciously. This brings us to the importance of clarity. If you are a co-creator of reality, what are you creating? What intentions, beliefs, and emotions are you projecting into the quantum field? Many of us operate on autopilot, driven by subconscious patterns that we've inherited from family, culture, or past experiences. These patterns often reinforce a sense of separation, scarcity, or fear. To shift them, you must first become aware of them. Journaling is a powerful practice for uncovering these hidden patterns. As you write, observe the stories you tell about yourself and the world. Are they stories of limitation or possibility, of victimhood or empowerment? Once you've identified the patterns that no longer serve you, you can consciously rewrite them. This isn't about denial or wishful thinking, it's about aligning your narrative with the truth of who you are, a creator, not a bystander. But awareness and intention are not enough. Action is the bridge between the inner and outer worlds. Every action you take is a signal to the universe, a declaration of your intentions. When your actions align with your highest values and desires, they become a force for transformation. This doesn't mean every action must be grand or perfect. Even small, consistent steps can create profound ripples in the fabric of reality. Consider the concept of aligned action from the Taoist philosophy of Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action. Wu Wei doesn't mean doing nothing, it means acting in harmony with the flow of life. When you're aligned with your true nature, your actions feel natural and unforced, like a river flowing toward the ocean. This state of alignment amplifies your creative power because you're not working against the current of reality, you're working with it. One of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of this journey is embracing uncertainty. If reality is not fixed but participatory, then the future is not predetermined. This can be unsettling, especially if you're accustomed to seeking control and certainty. But uncertainty is not your enemy, it's the fertile ground from which all possibilities arise. The philosopher Alan Watts once likened life to a piece of music. The point of music, he said, isn't to reach the end, but to enjoy the play of notes along the way. Similarly, the point of life is not to achieve some final state of certainty or perfection, but to fully experience the dance of creation. When you embrace this perspective, uncertainty becomes less of a threat and more of an invitation, a blank canvas on which to paint your reality. As you move through this dance, you may begin to notice synchronicities, those seemingly coincidental events that carry a deeper meaning. These are not random, they are the universe's way of communicating with you, guiding you toward greater alignment with your true self. Pay attention to these moments and follow where they lead. They are breadcrumbs on the path of your unfolding story. The journey of realizing you are not alive in the conventional sense is not about detachment or nihilism. It's about recognizing that life is not something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. You are both the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. And with this recognition comes a profound sense of freedom. This freedom is not without responsibility. To know that you are a creator is to know that you are accountable for what you create. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for every challenge or hardship. Life is a complex interplay of forces, many of which are beyond your individual control. But within this complexity, you have the power to choose your focus, your perspective, and your response. These choices, small as they may seem, ripple outward in ways you cannot always predict. So how do you live as a conscious creator in a participatory universe? You start by embracing the paradoxes of existence: effort and surrender, individuality and oneness, uncertainty and trust. You cultivate presence, clarity, and intention. You align your actions with your highest values. And perhaps most importantly, you approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder. The evidence that you are not alive in the way you thought is everywhere, hidden in the quantum field, encoded in the patterns of nature, whispered in the teachings of ancient sages. But this evidence is not meant to dishearten you. It's meant to awaken you, to show you that you are not a passive participant in a fixed reality, but an active co-creator in an ever-unfolding mystery. In the end, the question is not, am I alive, but rather, how do I choose to live? Will you live as a fragment, caught in the illusion of separation, or as a creator, embracing the interconnectedness of all things? The choice, as always, is yours. And in that choice lies the power to shape not only your life, but the reality we all share. You are not alive in the way you thought. You are not a passive participant in a preordained reality. You are a co-creator, a spark of consciousness, a force of nature. The evidence is not hidden. It's all around you, waiting for you to see. And as you begin to see, you also begin to change, not just yourself, but the very fabric of existence. Reality, after all, is what you make of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.